I grew up like a savage.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be honest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There'd be a lot of old haters. So, like, when we can have these conversations and we can bring people in the room and, like, what you doing with Project Level now, can you explain to the people the time from the time you retired to the time you got into Project Level? Like, what was that? Or started Project Level with you and Danielle
And what
started
made you
together?
retire? Because I was trying to see what.
It was a mixture of a lot. It was always the plan to retire early.
Okay.
Right?
Wait a minute. Well, I'm going to say this, Rich, because I meant to say this earlier. While you telling your story, your first project, and then we're going to call it a project that you put effort into, you wasn't a rapper.
No.
So, first of all, you got to understand the mentality. Let's not skip over that. You wasn't even tripping from the rip.
From the rip.
So for somebody to walk away when they in their prime is crazy, to the average person who just probably want to try to record a fucking song before a nigga that was trying to put other niggas on from the beginning. So I just had to say that real quick.
You're right. And that was kind of shocked everybody because it was like we was good. The last album we was still doing good. We had the next two albums set up like we was gonna do it. A lot of shit happened in 2009 though. It was like 2009 was my first fully independent movement. You know what I mean? Like by myself though. Like we had the Koch run in 2006, 2007 and 2008. We dropped a lot of mixtapes, right? Okay. And then 2008 was SF Anthem, and that was kind of like, you know, that was the biggest record of my career, and it just kind of it slowed down the process of doing my second album. Because it was like that one song was like
you
an
gotta
album
play
within
that.
itself.
If you do it's no way in hell you do a Frisco set without playing that song. And playing Quinn's Turn the Party Out. Is that the name of the song?
Oh, Shock the Party.
Shock the Party, yeah.
100%.
Shock the Party and SF Anthem. It ain't no, if you're going to play it at the Warriors game, right, any of that shit, like, that's like, but you know, SF Anthem is more of a global song, you hear that at all the sporting
all
events.
The games, exactly. So it was like, when that hit, it was just kind of like, all right, bet, well, we got it. But then, during that process was like when we decided not to re-up with Koch. Okay. And the reason why was because it was like, well, we don't want to kind of get locked in the same kind of situation. If we got a record and we doing it and we know how to navigate ourselves,
we figured it out.
We figured it out. So we didn't re-up. But then at the same time, too, me and Chuck was transitioning. I was just growing up. I was becoming a man. And I was working on this album called Heart of the City. It was like it was like my everything. Like it was like I was figuring it out on the first album. I knew who I was.
Heart
and what
of the City
I was
was
doing.
your whole album.
That was the whole album. That was the one where I was like, I know where I want to go. I knew I had the city completely behind it. I knew who I was. I was talking about like Quinn, Keith, 40. Like they was like the older cast, so they hung out, they hung together and stuff. But I got to build with the Jay Stallings, you feel me? The Filthy Rich is like that was more my age group. The Hood Stars, and like we was like the next generation up under that. So we was on the road all of the time. La Rue, all of us, we used to go on the road with my boy Nooch out of Sacramento. Big Nooch, he put us on and taught us how to really travel and get to those markets, right? So we was doing all of that, and it was like, I used to always tell Danielle, nobody really kind of believed that. I didn't even really tell like Troy and the rest of my crew the plan, but I was like, if I'm not where I want to be at 30, I want to give myself enough time to be able to transition out and build these businesses, right? So it was always, I ended up retiring at 29, 28 and a half, 29. And so I left a little earlier when I started seeing stuff happen. Pops, my dad passed away of lung cancer in the 2009. That kind of tripped shit out. I was getting ready to drop an album. I had it lined up. I'm gonna announce it now. So it was an album called Heart of the City that came out in 2009. Me and Jack had teamed up that June. We set shit on fire. He dropped Tear Gas that year. I dropped Heart of the City. Tear Gas was his big one, right? And but we supported each other on that. We did a good run, hit the road, did what we did. Pops passed December 2009. And then I kind of started evaluating the shit. I had two albums lined up. One was called IRS, International Rich Squad, where I was going to platform all my artists on this album, right? Because none of my artists really had been on like the big albums. They've been on mixtapes and shit like that. But they hadn't been on like my premier real records. So we was gonna line that up, and then the last one was gonna be an album called King Me, right? And I was just gonna because at that time, I was just like, man, we the hottest shit out here. We got it. Like, you know, that's it. It just ended on that note and fade out, right? And then, but when Pops passed and we went through all of the shit that was going on, Danielle actually came up with the title for the album, Built to Last. And she was like, let's do a film, let's do a documentary, let's do the whole shit.
Now, Danielle is your wife, for people that don't know. That's the beautiful lady that you always see with Big Rich.
Yeah, the architect, man.
And I got to ask you this about Danielle. Now, was she in the music business?
Nah, Danielle was, sort of. So when she graduated high school, she went to college in L.A. and she was doing makeup. She was a makeup artist.
Okay.
She ended up doing the styling and the makeup in the OG B2K Bump 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 video. She was a stylist on that set, right? Which ended up being a notorious song. And the nigga R. Kelly, Bump 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 and Diddy and all that. So she was in the mix down there doing that. So when she came back, her whole family like are talented musicians, right? They can all sing, they can all do that. And initially, that was her dream. She wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. But man, I'm gonna tell you a quick story about Danielle. We had just got together. We was probably together about 6 months. I was out at Koch getting ready to start my whole marketing rollout, right? Okay. So we had the video. We was getting ready to place it and get all the rollout for that. It was like June 06, and I released in October 06. So it was a 4-month run. She came out there. Chuck, like, well, why you got her? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you bringing your girl out? Like, what you doing? We out here, we trying to get that business. I'm like, nah, I need her around. She got the right. Her head was right. Yeah. So we sat down in the marketing meeting. She wasn't even supposed to be in there. I'm like, come in here. Like, just come sit down. Just listen. I want you to learn. You know what I mean? Because at that time, she was like, she'd go get like a binder and just put like everything in it and like plans and shit. When we go on the road, she like every promo tour, she was just right there. So, but at that time, it wasn't exactly. But it wasn't. It hadn't became anything yet. Okay. But it was this one meeting with Alan Grunblatt, who we was just talking about. It was me, Chuck, Alan Grunblatt, D, and Danielle. Just sitting in the back. Okay. And we was talking about. I don't even remember what it was, but we was talking about where we should spend a certain amount of the budget. Mm-hmm. And Chuck had his idea, Alan had his idea, I had one, and then we couldn't agree on it. And Danielle just blurted out like, blah blah blank blank blank, whatever the fuck she said. Alan was like, that's it, that's what we gonna do. Mm-hmm. And this nigga Chuck looked back like, the fuck, Rich? You know what I mean? Like, nigga, like this is a business meeting. You got your girlfriend over there. I'm like, nah, nigga, I told you. You know what I mean? Right. So she When I seen that, and when I seen, president of Koch Records and legendary Alan Grunblatt, if he agreed with the shit, I gotta agree with some of this shit. So, and then that was kind of like the beginning of that. But at that time, I already had management in place. My boy Igor Spivak was my manager. Okay. Chuck was my CEO. So she wasn't in the managerial role back then, but she was leading up to that point. Yeah. But by the time we got to Heart of the City, it was us. Every idea, everything that we did it together. And we made a wave, and we built this completely independently, and we did it on our own, out of our own pocket and shit like that. Which is a lesson in itself, again, for our youngsters that, like, you know what I'm saying, because that was rare. Yeah. So for our generation, that was rare. That y'all like to hug up and be in love and shit down, but y'all be doing all the wrong shit. So what I want to say is that, and at that time, that shit was like, that's super rare, right? Nigga, yeah. When we went, like I said, when it was me, Filthy.
Yeah, but that's why you gotta do as for you.
Yeah, no, 100%. We on the road, D. We on the road. There's like 9 of us. It's like a Bay Area all-star tour. I'm the only nigga with my girl. Nigga, what you doing? I'm like, man, trust me, bro. And then like we get to like Seattle, the market in Seattle. Not to cut you off, but like we get to the market, like we get up in Seattle, and nigga, all right, look, we finna take this van. We gonna go to Gonzaga. We finna go. You know what I mean? And then, all the other artists like, they like shit. Like, let her run the motherfucking show. Yeah, she pull out the bag, nigga. We got wristbands, condoms, T-shirt. We giving away hella big rich, paraphernalia. Right. And everybody else like, okay, I see what they doing. Right. She get to the venue, nigga. She set up the venue table, the merch table, everything. Like, we the only artists on this tour. We 9 of us. We the only artists on that tour that was making outside money from what the door was giving us. Right. See? So then they caught on to that, and it was still very rare at that point. But then now it's it's and it's a lesson in if you're gonna be with somebody and you're gonna have somebody, man, have somebody that's down with your dreams and your ambitions, and y'all complement each other. You know what I'm saying? You can't force what ain't meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta know when to walk away. Like Big Rich knew at that point that was great. First of all, he made a decision on dealing with a great woman, right? Yeah. That's number one, right? Something you got to do because it's a bunch of trash out here, right? Yeah. Then he made the decision to allow his woman, not even allow.
he just made the decision to bring his woman because allow is the wrong word. We got our women in power, right? He had his woman there with him, and then she made a great decision in the boardroom because I always say with mine, she sharpened me up.
Yeah.
So for all y'all that don't understand, all that testosterone in the room ain't good, man. You need some estrogen, man. You got to balance that shit out.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? Too many men telling you what to do ain't right.
Most of the women gonna know to shut the fuck up in the corner.
Shout out to fucking Dame Dash. You know what I'm saying? With Terry T brought him up earlier. Dame Dash always say that, man. Fucking brings. I don't trust them dudes because they ain't got no women around. Fuck the women that, because they gonna tell you, no, he ain't cool. That motherfucker ain't right. You better watch him. You know what I'm saying?
There's something about him.
And they say they motherfuckers, and they say Jesus and them had that last supper because there wasn't no women at the table.
Straight
You know
up.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It went down the wrong kind of way. But yeah, man, that's a beautiful thing. But I didn't mean to cut you off. But I did want some clarity on what because she, you know, she is a stickler for organizing and getting things together and sticking to tasks, which I am horrible at. I know in my mind that I am a creative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
Sticking to tasks and you know all that shit. That's just I can do it, but it's challenging. You know what I'm saying? So after y'all started doing that, and was that your last album that y'all ended up doing?
Built to Last. She titled it. We shot
Did you know it was the last album?
Didn't know it was gonna be the last.
Because you was gonna
album.
do King Me.
Oh yeah, I was gonna do 2 more and then King Me. But the thing about it was like it was that digital world shit was happening, man. I was like, what the fuck is iTunes?
What is iTunes?
What the fuck is that? I didn't, you know.
I
did not know. And I'm like, oh shit, nigga, this shit. But you know, it kind of just coincided with the timing of me wanting to phase out at around that time anyway, right?
Right.
And it was like, you know, we was still just flipping the same money. It was like we go in, we make enough back to go do another album. And I'm like,
just getting drained.